This will be a short video over adverbs. This information is available on pages 51 and 52 of your textbook to go along with your other assignment. As we look at A, we see a couple of sentences here, three of them. Each of them have an adverb in them. We have the first one is our positive adverb, suavitor. The second one is our comparative adverb, suavimos. And then our third one is our superlative adverb, suavissime. As you can see, adverbs have the same qualities that adjectives had in positive, comparative, and superlative. If we look at these, you're going to see that there is a correlation with each one. Under comparative adjectives, you see the IORs. Under the comparative adverb, you're going to see IUSs. So in the same way that we translate, we see the IOR in our adjectives, we say sweeter or later or quicker. We use ER in English. We're going to use more for the IUSs in the adverbs. So more sweetly, more slowly, and more quickly. When we get to superlatives, you're going to see the ISS, IMUS in the adjectives. And you can also have the double R, the double L, IMUS for the superlative. And we translate that as EST or most. So this first one would be most sweet or sweetest. This one would be slowest. And telerimus would be quickest. When we change it to a superlative adverb, we use ISSIME. So instead of the MUS, we use an ME. And we'll do that throughout. You can also have the double R or the double L with the INE as well. So the transformation between adjective and adverb for the superlative is very, very similar. For the comparative, not so much. As far as positives are concerned, we saw up here we have ITER for soliter. You can also just change, that's for the third declension adjectives. For the first declension adjectives, we're just going to take off the US and add an E. An example of that will follow. I'll show you that in a second. Looking at these sentences, we have words like magnopera, we have magis, and we have maxime. This is another kind of positive, comparative, superlative. And the difference is this is irregular. It doesn't follow those patterns of adding issimus or issime, or adding IUS for the comparative adverb or IOR for the comparative adjective. Irregulars they won't follow a pattern. So you have to memorize the irregulars. I wish there were an easy way for us to do that, but there's not. As you can see, it also leaves you the positive adjective that's correlated with magnopera, the comparative adjective that's correlated with magis, and the superlative adjective that's correlated with maxime. I'll leave you a chart there is actually a chart of these on page 52 of the irregulars. Sorry for the poor quality of my video right here. But this chart right here on page 52 is something that you can look at. It is something that I would spend a little bit of time on in looking at our positive, our comparative, and our superlative forms of our adverbs and the irregulars. Okay, let's go down here and let's look at some of these sentences on letter E. Oh, real quickly, don't want to skip this. If I use quam with a comparison, with a superlative, just like we did with adjective, it creates something for us. In this case, it's as quickly as possible. Where you see the word quickly right here, It's bad color. Let's try this one. Where I see the word quickly right here, you're basically going to replace with whatever the word means. So if I were to use slowly, so if I were to say tardissime, it would be as slowly as possible. So whatever the word that we're using, like in this case, celerime means quick, we use quickly there. If I were to use tardissime, I would use slowly as possible. So when I use quam, this is another form of quam. We have talked about it. It should not be a big surprise to you, but one that you're going to see quite a bit. Uh-oh. Okay, translating these following. What I want you to do is I want you to hit pause. I want you to go through all of these sentences here. I want you to recognize the adverb. Tell me whether it's comparative, superlative, or positive adverb. I also want you to translate those sentences. So hit pause now. Okay, the adverbs that we saw would have been calories, facilime. That's our double L that we were looking for earlier. We have magis. We have fortissime. And here we're going to use it with quam, and remember that's going to be as whatever as possible. We have melius. We have advitius, fidelator, okay, we have for number one, that is a comparative. Number two is a superlative. Number three is a comparative, part of our irregular. If I go up here and look under our comparatives, I'll see magis right there. We'll see melius in one as well. So fortissime is superlative. Melius, we just saw, is a comparative. Advitius is a comparative. Fidelator is a positive, and male, if I look up here, is one of our irregulars, is also positive. So hit pause and translate these sentences, and I will, you know what? Write these down on a sheet of paper, and we'll take those up and go over them whenever you come back. Hopefully this video is helpful. Now, I tell you what I do have is I have a little chart that I'm going to throw up here for you. This shows you how these adjectives, or these adjectives become positive. You guys remember me telling you that the second declension, we changed the US to an E. So tardus is late as an adjective. Brevus, the third declensions, are going to change to ITER. You guys can see that, hopefully you can see that the endings are changing. Same thing for Keller, that's actually misspelled. It should have double R there. No, it does not. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. And then the positive changes to the ITER for Keller as well. Becomes retail. Comparatives, we've had tardus. We're going to change it to IOR. The same as for the third declensions. The IUS for the adverb in the comparison form. That is the same for all three of our declensions. Both of our declensions for adjectives. Superlative, this is where that celerime came into play. I'm going to get a double S, issimus, for our first and second declension adjectives. Issime. Third declension is going to get an issimus as well, and an issime. Unless the stem ends in an R or an L, and that's when we're going to double L, or double R or double L that word. So we get celerimus and celerime. The irregulars, I would, if I were you, I would take time to fill this chart out and make sure that you are comfortable with those. That's the end of this video. I have another great